The Newsday continues here on One News Now. I'm Riza Diaz. Typhoon Bising maintains its strength as it moves towards east of Sorsogon. The eye of the Typhoon Bising is currently located at 375 kilometers east of Huban, Sorsogon, packing maximum sustained winds of 215 kilometers per hour near the center and a gustiness of up to 265 kilometers per hour. Bising will continue to move northwestward east of Bicol region and will start turning more northward tonight or Monday early morning. The typhoon will continue moving northward until Tuesday morning before turning northwestward while over the east of Cagayan Valley. Now by Wednesday evening, it is forecasted to turn northwestward or east-northwestward away from Luzon. The Social Welfare Department reports that it has standby funds and available stockpiles amounting to over 1.59 billion pesos. DSWD has more than 556 million pesos in standby funds. Of this number, nearly 518 million pesos has been earmarked as standby funds as the agency's central office. More than 355,000 food packs to aid affected families by Typhoon Bising worth 182 million pesos are already available, while 338 million pesos are allotted for other food items. Non-food items have a budget of 517 million pesos. Now, the Labor Department is looking into conducting a massive virtual job fair this coming Labor Day. That's according to DOLE Assistant Secretary Dominic Tutay. Tutay said that the DOLE regional directors and public employment service offices are now looking for employers who may want to participate in the job fair. She adds that the department is also gearing to hold a job summit on May 1st to lay down the government's recovery plan for the workforce. Now, to tell us more about the current situations of Filipino employees, we have with us via Zoom DOLE Assistant Secretary, Ma'am Dominic Tutay. Good afternoon, Ma'am.
Good afternoon, Riza.
Asek, can you tell us more about this virtual job fair you're planning to hold on Labor Day and how can Filipinos participate?
Yeah, that's correct. The Department of Labor and Employment, through our DOLE regional offices, including the Public Employment Service offices nationwide, is mounting a online job fair for May 1. Currently, we are gathering job vacancies coming from participating employers, and so far, we have around 5,000 job vacancies in our list coming from the 88 participating private sector establishments. But between now until May 1, we will still be consolidating all the reports coming from all over our public employment service offices, including our regional offices.
Ma'am, what are other short and long-term measures that the government aims to do for Filipino workforce, especially those affected by the pandemic?
Actually, we're looking at retooling and retraining most of our displaced workers because the labor market has already shifted, particularly when it comes to digital platforms. Most of the skills now being looked at by our participating employers would be computer skills, digital skills, and also communication skills. Now, we all know that our workers need also to transition from their previous jobs to the one that's available in the labor market. And therefore, we're looking at workers that are open to retooling and retraining. And TESDA would have that programs, especially now that we will be holding also the Job Summit, as you have mentioned, on May 1.
These programs are great, Asek. Now, this time, what can you tell us about the Labor Department's plan to hire TUPAD workers as contact tracers? Can you enlighten us more, Asek, about TUPAD program?
Yeah, we are helping the MMDA and also the local government units here in Metro Manila to hire additional 5,000 contact tracers. And this will be under the TUPAD program. It will run for 3 months and it will start in May. The application and the hiring processes will be the deadline will be on April 22, if I'm not mistaken. And those who want to be hired, they can just go to the nearest local government unit, Public Employment Service Office in the area. Remember that it is just here in Metro Manila.
As a final question, are there still cash assistance programs available for pandemic displaced workers, particularly in the tourism sector?
Okay, currently we are disbursing around 700 million for about 140,000 approved applicants for camp tourism. That's 5,000 financial assistance, especially for the tourism sector or tourism-related sector workers. It's still ongoing.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for your time and for your insights. That's DOLE Assistant Secretary Dominic Tutay. Now, the Health Department clarifies the SARS-CoV-2, the virus that causes COVID-19, is not airborne, but can stay longer in enclosed spaces. In an interview with One News Now, DOH Undersecretary Maria Rosario Vergeres says studies show that SARS-CoV-2 is transmitted via droplets, but these droplets may stay in the air longer in confined spaces. Thus, the Health Department's advice to stay in well-ventilated areas. Now, this after Lancet published a study that claims SARS-CoV-2 is primarily airborne, which, if accepted by the scientific community, may have a huge impact on current health protocols.
The virus can only stay longer in the air if you are in an enclosed setting. That's why we warn people that if you're going out, you're going to places, make sure that the place that you go to is well ventilated, because there is really that study that viruses stay longer in the air when you are in an enclosed space.
Now, because of this infectious nature of COVID-19, governments have advised the public not to join or organize events that draw large crowds. So what does the scientific evidence tell us about mass gatherings and the spread of COVID-19? The World Health Organization tells us in this video.
Hello and welcome to Science in 5. I'm Vismita Gupta-Smith and we are talking about vaccines, variants and mass gatherings today. WHO's chief scientist, Dr. Soumya Swaminathan, will be talking to us about these issues. Welcome, Soumya.
Hello, Vismita. Nice to be back doing Science in 5.
What do we know today about how much protection these vaccines are giving us?
What's really important is that almost all of these vaccines are highly protective against severe disease, which leads very often to hospitalization and then, unfortunately, to death. So, while they may not completely prevent infection, the immunity that the body develops in response to vaccination is good enough to protect people from getting sick, even if they get the infection. We're also learning about protection against infection, because this is something that wasn't clear from the trials, but in countries like Israel and the UK, which have been studying it very systematically, it appears that people who have received the first dose have about 70 to 80% protection against infection, and after the second dose, this could be even higher. Now, this may vary from vaccine to vaccine, so we cannot generalize. We need to collect more data. I think what's important to remember is that even as one gets vaccinated, we have to maintain all the other precautions and take all the other public health measures that WHO has been advocating, because each of these tools actually adds a layer of protection.
Soumya, we are seeing that people are tired. It's been long periods of isolation and being locked up in your homes. And so there are these gatherings that are happening, whether they're smaller family gatherings or bigger gatherings, mass gatherings. What does our evidence and data say about what happens to COVID-19 transmission when we gather and not observe the public health precautions?
So we've known for quite some time now about how this virus spreads and what it likes. It likes close contact between people, it likes crowded environments, and it likes closed settings, indoor settings with poor ventilation, so that it can spread most efficiently from person to person. We also know that many of the variants that are circulating now, particularly the variants of concern, are much more efficient, 1.5 to 2 times more efficient at spreading. So the virus has got smarter at spreading, it's just looking for opportunities. We know mass gatherings, whether they are, gatherings for weddings, or parties and pubs, or whether they are sporting events or religious events, that all of these have the potential to become mass spreading events. And we know from many documented research studies done last year that mass gatherings did result in a huge increase in infections, which are usually seen a couple of weeks later. So knowing all of this, I think it's really important. We understand that people are tired and they want to get back to normal life, but this is not the time to relax at all, because the vaccination programs in most countries have not even begun to approach the levels of herd immunity that we need. And so we need to recognize, people need to recognize that engaging in these kind of activities where we are gathering without any precautions is endangering not only themselves, but the lives of their loved ones and friends, and particularly the older people and the vulnerable people in the community.
And those are the top stories of the hour. Join us later at 1 in the afternoon as we continue to monitor today's biggest stories. You can also catch One News on Signal Play app. Register for a free account now at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Riza Diaz. Mask on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. We are One News.